It just depends. It starts off sometimes just 20, 30 people, and then it grows, so to thousands. So,
Whoa.
watching live, and that's, it always takes a second for us to go live too. So that's why it's like, okay, let's hit log on. And so I'm going to welcome everybody and say, please just give us a thumbs up, give us a comment, let us know, you're here, because I know it always takes a second for everything to go online. But I appreciate people logging on, and so excited today to talk to Carolyn from Hughes Resources. It's so interesting because I've worked with you guys for years and years. As I realized that, I wear all the hats as the business owner, as a small business. Many of us have been in this situation, and we need help with staffing because I don't have time to be an HR person, right? When I'm selling real estate and I'm marketing and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And when do I have time to do interviews? And when do I have time to, sort through 100 applications? I've done the, calling the unemployment office and saying, send me, applications. I've done the online, here, put a job out there and, submit me your applications. And I get 100 applications, and I don't even think I had one that I actually wanted to talk to.
Oh, that's painful.
So Carolyn, welcome. So let's
Thank
talk a
you.
little bit about, how Hughes Resources can help people, and, some of the different options that are out there for people. And so, like I said, as a small business owner, I think that's one big thing that I really want to let people know. And so how you guys can help. So take it away, Carolyn. You can.
Well, like you, we are a small business in Freeport based, started in Freeport. We are 100% female owned. Vanessa Hughes, our local Freeporter, is the sole owner of our company. And we are all very vested in the community and care about helping people find meaningful work and helping our client partners find good employees, long-term employees. So many people think of staffing agencies as temp agencies, and we don't really like that term around here. Our sweet spot is really in long-term employment. So we look to find temp to hire or permanent placement positions. We will always help a client out and find a temp if you have a medical leave or some short-term need. Yes, we have folks in our database. We can do that too. But we really we want people to up-level their lives, get hired on into companies where they can have paid vacation days and sick days and full-time benefits. So we like to think that we are just partnering with all the local businesses who are interested in working with us. It's what we do all day, every day is magnetize candidates to jobs that we are recruiting for.
And I think that really is something that, we talked about before is, really extension of someone's staffing, as far as someone's human resources, department. You're like a whole nother, adding a department or bringing that department in or extending their existing department.
We like to think about it as we're just sitting next to you as an extension of your desk. You are a pro at what you do. So we need to let you market the properties and close the homes and sell all the properties and meet your buyers and hook sellers up with buyers. Well, let us help you find the staff to help you do that. And I think the big key for your time is to let us do the pre-screening. So we are advertising jobs in all our social media channels, through ads on Google, through our website, and we will magnetize in candidates and pre-screen them for you. So I don't care if your job is an entry-level job, whether it's clerical, administrative, all the way up to the COO of a company. We can magnetize the folks, help screen out, you get 100 resumes if you post a job. Like you said, maybe 3 of them are people you want to meet. This is what we do all day, every day. We can screen the folks for you, send over who we think is the best fit, and let you take it from there.
Yep. And like you said, too, narrowing down whether you're doing just the initial screening, whether you're doing more skill testing, because maybe you need to know that person is skilled at this, administrative or this factory or, that whatever skill set that is, you have a whole suite of skill testing kind of things you can do.
Yes. Whether you want to know if your candidate can use a tape measure or if you want to know that your candidate knows how to use the Microsoft Office suite, if you want to know typing speed, we have a battery of tests that we can hook up the candidates with. And as we submit you a resume, we can also submit those results, out of the gate, where a baseline level is for an employee that you may be looking at.
Yeah, definitely. And, and I've utilized that, as I said, numerous times. It's like, okay, I kind of like this person, but their past resume history doesn't really give me a lot of, can they work with this, or, have they done this? And so I'll reach out to my staffing rep and say, hey, what about this? Or this is, what I'm looking at. And so definitely, that's such a huge help.
Yes, we've also done custom screening questions for clients in the past. We were working with a financial institution who had a very rigorous interview process, and they wanted a writing sample for their candidates. And so we would approach the candidates ahead of time, get them to answer in writing a few questions, and submit that with the resume. So again, trying to save time. Let the bankers do the banking and the real estate agents sell the houses. We'll do the HR.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's one thing that, and my business coaches talked about this, that, you don't ask this, you don't go in and do surgery on yourself, so bring in those other professionals, bring in those other people that, know what they're doing. And like you said, it's a partnership, but it's an alignment. It's an extension of, you really immerse yourselves in getting to know our business, or your client's business, so that way you can really work on finding the right people in our team, and not just a person. You're looking for that, like you said, long-term person.
Yeah, we're looking for a fit. I mean, our tagline is the people professionals. So we pride ourselves on meeting people. We meet our candidates in our office and do interviews. We meet with our clients on site, learn the temperature and the personality and the needs of your organization, and then try to line those up. So, in our case, hiring's tough. It's really tough right now. And
Right.
So we are glad to be of service, and help you spend time on the right things. And the sooner you get the right folks in your office, the faster you can meet your goals.
Right. Absolutely. So you talk about interviews, and, one number that just blows my mind, and we'll talk about some of the numbers here, is on average, on a weekly basis, on average, you said your offices, and there's 5 of them throughout the area. So serving all of Northern Illinois, but, 100 to 125 people a week you guys are going through doing interviews on.
Yes. Our offices, look to do a couple dozen interviews a week, and we started in Freeport, and then we opened in Dixon in 2015. Our next office was in Monroe, so we ventured into southern Wisconsin. In 2019, we opened in Beloit, and that was our 4th office and second foray into southern Wisconsin. And then now, just this year, we recently had a ribbon cutting in our location on North First Street in Rockford. So so between those 5 offices, we have, full-time recruiting staffs, pulling in candidates and interviewing. So again, sometimes I will talk with the client about what we can help them do. And they interviewed 3 people the week before for 1 job. Well, we're pulling in dozens a week. So, I think we can help get resumes in front of you faster, and not just faster, but more qualified resumes.
Right. Yeah, definitely the more qualified. And then on average right now, we talked about you guys do the temp to hire and do permanent placement. But right now on average, you have how many employees out there that are working?
We have about 20 internal employees at our Hughes locations, and then we have about 200 employees out in the field.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think last year we printed over 1,200 W-2s.
Wow.
So
1,200 employees in 1 year.
Yes, we are issuing a lot of paychecks. So putting people to work That's our sweet spot.
Yep, yep, that's amazing. So let's talk about some of the types of jobs, because I know sometimes when I say to people, well, I call Hughes Resources, I call, my staffing person, because I just consider you guys my staffing person. It's like, this is just, this is my department. But, people say, oh, well, they only do factory or they only do admin. So let's talk about some of the different job openings and always openings and, that kind of thing. Because I
Okay.
think people don't really, know that.
Yes, absolutely. And I was with you before I worked here. I was completely unaware of the width and breadth of the positions that our recruiters work on. So typically, what I like to say is we do everything from entry level to executive. So while our sweet spot may be in the light industrial staffing, we do a lot of the manufacturing facilities in our area. In southern Wisconsin, we do a lot of cheese making. For example, there's a lot of food manufacturing around here. In those types of companies, it is very common that we have positions open in the assembly, machine operation, packaging, production, warehouse, fork truck driving positions. Those are quite often open on a continual basis. The pay, the shifts, the clients may change, but we are constantly staffing those types of positions.
Right.
In addition to that, we have a very strong element of business that plays in the administrative space. So customer service, clerical, collections. We have some great partners in the insurance industry. And so we do some really interesting jobs in insurance and claims, and we also staff for any type of management, engineering. Some of our technical manufacturing partners in town, we help them find quality positions like quality supervisors, quality engineers. We have some banking partners. We have placed directors of HR. We have recruited for director of IT, a COO. We truly we're good at what we do, and
Right.
we know how to the places to recruit, the places to market and magnetize in folks into our office. And really, we do have a full-time marketing professional who knows how to advertise jobs, and even though we're located in Freeport, Illinois, we could really recruit across our region.
Right.
Once you're on the web, anybody who's looking can find us. So.
Well, and where to target different types of staffing. So this type of clientele that you're looking for might be here in your marketing, and another clientele might be here. I mean, it's no different for us of different styles of houses are going to attract different types of buyers, and so.
Sure.
Absolutely, it's that same matchmaking, kind of thing. So definitely. And then I know that there's some other things that you guys do as well, some that I didn't know about, I should say, and then some that I now knew about. But so let's talk about a couple of those. Like, we talked about some of the skill testing and some of the, additional, information you need just past someone's resume. And I will say that it's not only that resume that I read, but my staffing consultant that I have with Hughes also gives me their personal view. They've worked with me for years, they've known me, so they know, again, my personality, my team's personality. And so just their, read on this person is always too very interesting to me. Because a resume is a resume.
Right.
But what the personal, thing is, and what their thing about, oh gosh, I really felt like this person would connect with you because of this.
Right. We really do like to include, I mean, we all have a short time to evaluate, and sometimes reading an entire resume is just more time than you have. So yes, our recruiters, once they meet with a candidate, will write a bio on the person from their own gut feel and their assessment of their skills and their fit for you. And it's nice to be able to just peruse that quickly and decide, do I want to dive in and read the whole resume?
Right.
That's a step before you even meet the person. So we offer, we talked a little bit about skills testing before. We offer that a la carte too. So even if you're not looking to hire through us, if you have some staff you want to put through a battery of tests, we do offer that a la carte on the side. We do in-house drug testing in our offices, so we can provide same-day results on anybody who needs any sort of drug testing. We work with clients and help create employee handbooks for clients who just, like maybe like yourselves, don't have a full-time HR person, but need to make sure they're staying current with the letter of the labor laws these days that are getting more and more complicated every year. So we will sit down, go in and meet with companies and work with them to establish, based on the rules and regulations of each individual company, what their employee handbook looks like. We also do some coaching in leadership and management. We've coached clients through some major changes in their organization. We've worked through personality conflicts or restructuring, and also just giving HR advice. If you find yourself in a pickle with some sort of unemployment or workers' comp issue, we can work out some sort of consulting package or a set number of hours in which we could be your HR help desk, essentially. So
right.
Again, we have a full-time HR safety specialist on our staff who we send to conferences and who does research and all the legal and makes sure that we're all staying current. So again, that's a specialty we have in-house, just like your analogy of not doing our own surgery. If you're a small company, don't have a full HR staff, consult the folks who are already doing that. And
Right. Yeah, don't try and write the employee handbook, yourself, and don't try and,
right.
it's just like taxes and all kinds of things. I mean, there's just so many rules out there and things just keep changing and, and stuff. It's just, why would you try and do that, yourself? So yeah. Well, I think we've covered a lot. I really, just want to remind people that you guys are there, that, again, covering all of Northern Illinois, Southern Wisconsin, being able to, help people throughout the whole area, in all different jobs from, like you said, from entry level to executive, whether it's professional searching, for someone, from out of the area, or you're, trying to bring people in, or you're looking for, staff in your office to help. It's just, amazing all the different positions that are out there. 1,200 W-2s last year. I don't even want to think about. So that's just crazy. So I really appreciate your time, Carolyn. I think we've gotten a lot covered. And I will, of course, have, link for Hughes Resources. And as people might have questions, or as people have inquiries, what's the best way for them to contact you guys? Is it phone, email, any of the above?
Any of the above. If you want to learn more about us, our website has a ton of information, which is just hughesresources.com. In Freeport, we are at 232-2000. So if you call in to our branch office, you can get a hold of anybody that we can, start the conversation. We appreciate our partnership with you and your faith and confidence in us, to help you find staff. And over the years, it's really great to see how all of us locally partner together. We all care about our community and like to see people find their niche, and we all have to work for so long, so we might as well get into a field that we enjoy and succeed at. So
yeah, absolutely. Life is short. You might as well be doing something you enjoy and enjoy the people you work with. And yeah, from the very first office I started in 2006, I've been working with you guys since then. And so, it's been great seeing you guys grow and expand. And it's been great having that, partnership that's like, oh, okay, I've got somebody who, moved on and got licensed now, and so I need staff to help them, or I've got somebody who retired, or, whatever. And so, like, okay, I know who to call. All right. So.
Well, we're thrilled you think of us.
Yeah. Well, it's, like I said, it's been a pleasure, and it's such a help. I mean, I'm serious. It has been such a time saver, who has time these days to do all of these things? Time is our most valuable thing, right?
Absolutely.
So, and do what we're best at, it's one hat that I can take off of me. So thank you. Thank you guys for watching. As you have questions or comments, leave us a message, send us a comment. Like I said, I'll have a link to the website, to their Facebook page, for everything for Hughes Resources. And I appreciate your time, Carolyn. And I think this was very helpful and informative.
Awesome. Thanks so much. This was fun, Aubra.
Thank you.